Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, and the squad and all the other progressive far leftists have a plan for some kind of social credit reporting system. I don't know exactly how it would work, but James Lindsay tweets, Biden aims to set up an equity-based credit scoring system that takes identity factors like race and sex into account. This is part of his unity plan with the Democratic Socialist wing of his party, Sanders and AOC. And he links to this story or this article from the Consumer Data Industry Association. Before I read, I'm going to read you the first paragraph. Then I want to show you what Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders have actually said. They say, as the candidate for the Democratic primary has dwindled to former Vice President Joe Biden, we were waiting to see which stance his campaign would take on consumer reporting industry. In our former blog post, The Data Debate, Presidential Candidates on Consumer Data, we outlined the stances of the candidates on the credit reporting industry, but Biden was one of the only candidates to not have a plan for that. In a recent 110-page publication titled Biden-Sanders Unity Task Force Recommendation, he now has a plan for the industry. Before I read further, I want to show you what he actually says in terms of ensuring equitable access to banking and financial services, and then read what they say about credit scoring. In the actual document, this is what I have pulled up, the actual document from joebiden.com, they say, 1 in 4 American households are either unbanked or underbanked, putting them at risk of losing money due to exorbitant fees or usurious interest rates. Democrats will support and encourage congressional efforts to guarantee affordable, transparent, trustworthy banking services for low and middle income families, including bank accounts and real-time payment systems through the Federal Reserve and easily accessible service locations, including postal banking. Democrats will also expand access to credit by creating a public credit reporting agency to provide a non-discriminatory credit reporting alternative to the private agencies, and will require its use by all federal lending programs, including home lending and student loans. Okay, there it is. It's true. They're going to create it. What does that mean and how does it work? Honestly, we don't know. But a non-discriminatory credit reporting alternative is very strange, considering credit reporting agencies already have to adhere to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. They say the feds will be required to use it, and we will reinvigorate the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau to ensure that banks and lenders cannot prey upon consumers. The scars of the financial crisis, blah, blah, blah. Closing the racial wealth gap, they say. The extreme gap in household wealth and income between people of color, especially Black Americans and white families, is hurting our working class and holding our country back. Democrats are committed to a comprehensive agenda to achieve racial equity. That means improving economic mobility for people of color, including by addressing the wealth gap. In addition to expanding access to credit, working to boost home ownership and build more affordable housing, and supporting minority-owned small businesses, Democrats recognize that racial wealth gaps are rooted in long-standing discrimination and unjust policies that continue to depress the economic and social prosperity of people of color. To provide more Americans the right to enjoy the economic and social benefits of wealth building, we will equalize established pathways for building wealth while exploring innovative approaches to closing racial wealth gaps, including policies that provide seed capital in order to access the economic security of asset ownership. I believe that will be a violation of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. You cannot offer up grants to one race. Maybe there's something I don't understand about the policies, but it seems like this would be illegal. The black unemployment rate is persistently higher than the national average, while under Trump, he's reduced that dramatically. I'd like to show you this tweet from Andrew Sullivan. He says, Biden-Harris backs the enforcement of equality of outcomes for everyone in America. What else could this mean? And there's an image that says, equitable treatment means we all end up at the same place. Giving people resources so that we all end up in the same place is communism. Now, I know the left is going to say, haha, Tim's talking about communism. What an idiot. It is. In this image put out by Kamala Harris, or I should say by the Biden-Harris campaign or whoever, I don't know who put it out, but it's promoting the Biden-Harris campaign. She talked, there's an image showing a mountain, a white guy standing on the ground, and then it's like sunken ground well below where the black person is. They throw the ropes down at the same length, but the black person can't reach the ropes. They say, see, Simply providing the same resources and telling everyone to compete isn't fair. We need to provide everyone with the resources, and then flowers bloom and the ground grows, so that we can all end up at the same place. We don't want to end up at the same place. Meritocracy is the point. The people who know how to do things and succeed, and then help everyone else. It reminds me of the farming and food shortages, the farming crisis and food shortages we've seen from communism, where they take away the land from the landowner, the farmer, and give it to the workers. The workers don't know how to manage a farm. The farm collapses. Everyone starves. That's the point. Well, it's true, as I've shown you. In their unity plan, they want to create a new reporting agency that will be non-discriminatory. We know what their language is and what it means. When they say non-discriminatory, what they're really saying is, well, we need to give certain groups a leg up, which is literal discrimination. They're arguing it's not racist because they're helping. It is racist. Now, the CDIA says, the document comes on the heels of the Democratic Convention to be held in Milwaukee this August 17th. This is an old document, by the way, and is a first attempt to unify the party and prove to the Bernie coalition that Biden has not forgotten them. The document lays out the policies where the moderate Joe Biden will meet the Democratic Socialist Bernie Sanders and other task force members like AOC, author of the Green New Deal. They uniformly agree that the existing wealth gap, and rightfully so, is ever expanding in our country, and propose policies to lift this economic anchor that is dragging the working poor down. What is clearly missing in this document is the absence of Medicare for all and the Green New Deal, the two most important legislative proposals to Bernie and AOC's followers. Biden is willing to agree to some leftist proposals, but on his moderate terms. They say, we have spoken of privacy legislative proposals in the past that create privacy bill of rights, preempt states or not, and some build upon the CFPB or the FTC and others, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so anyway, they're talking about the unity agreement, which is kind of a waste of space. Makes it really hard to actually break down what these things mean. But in this document, they actually mention they don't know how this credit agency would work because they already have to follow non-discrimination rules. The theme of the unity document in this country's is the country's income inequality gap, no doubt spurred by the recent protests killing George Floyd, etc. The Unity Task Force members foresee the closing of the income inequality gap by creating a new agency within the CFPB that would provide an alternative to the three credit bureaus. The Public Credit Reporting Agency is an attempt to provide a non-discriminatory credit reporting alternative to the private agencies. The policy announcement said it would require all federal lending programs to use the Public Credit Reporting Agency to evaluate borrowers' creditworthiness, including for home lending and student loans, two of the most enabling factors when acquiring wealth in our country today. Of course, under FCRA, the three credit bureaus cannot see the race of consumers, nor the sex or orientation. How they will determine the race of individuals is yet to be seen, but perhaps a rewriting of FCRA or other governing laws would be a means to do so. Quite simply, Joe Biden does plan to create a new agency that will report credit. It would be built upon the ideas of equity, which means very likely your credit score will be determined based on the color of your skin. How about that? Imagine that. One day you go in and they say, you need a credit score of 850, but yours is 740. And I can see one of the factors is that you're white, or you're a man, or you're straight. And thus they are creating a path towards, if you're a disabled, non-white, trans, bi, whatever, your credit score would be a lot higher, or at least your access to capital in these agencies. They said equitable, okay? They said equitable, and using this to determine whether or not you can get loans for colleges or whatever. That means you will get benefits from being, anything but a white male to varying degrees. So I wouldn't call it a social credit system in the same sense that China is doing it. Like if you're mean to someone, your score goes down. This one's going to be, in my opinion, worse. Something I think would destroy the fabric of this country and lead to a very horrifying reality in the future. People being judged based on the color of their skin. The left is opening the door for this. And the CDIA says perhaps they need to rewrite the law to get this done, because the credit agencies aren't allowed to use race as a factor. Racism actually is illegal in institutions, but they are trying their hardest to create institutional racism, like affirmative action, and now this program. These are the kind of things that scare me about a Joe Biden victory. So I hope you have all been paying attention about what happens if Joe Biden wins. Maybe it won't happen overnight. Maybe it won't be in his first term. Maybe it won't even be in Joe Biden's term. Maybe it'll be after the fact, once the establishment takes control and then keeps propping up their candidates and a Republican never wins again. The idea that they would create an agency that would judge people based on race is horrifying to me. And I think we've already seen what happens when you do this. We actually fought to stop it. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. fought to stop it, and he succeeded. And now they mean to do away with these protections. I don't know what's in store for us. I'm not a psychic, but it does have me worried. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up in a few minutes. Stick around, and I will see you all shortly.